Bernie Sanders is not a socialist. The basic idea behind socialism is that the state should take over the means of production and use them for the benefit of everyone. The reason that socialism was very popular was that it was supposed to cut out the money paid to capitalists and direct that money to the welfare of all. In practice, it didn't work out that well. One thing you have to remember is that Bernie Sanders is running for president and not running for king. One thing that Donald Trump found out is that there is this pesky thing called Congress, and that presidents have to deal with them. Congress makes the laws, and the president and the executive branch execute the laws. We have strayed a lot from what the founding fathers thought the country should be. It should also be noted that the founding fathers didn't really care if we followed what they said, and they made provisions for not following it. They believed that each generation should figure out its own government. It should also be noted at the time of the founding of the country, the population was about 1/100th the size that it currently is. Because the government has gotten so big, a lot of the power that was supposed to be in Congress has been usurped by various federal agencies. 6 things that Bernie Sanders wants to do are: 1, have universal health care; 2, provide as much education as anyone wants; 3, a living wage for everyone; 4, affordable housing for everyone; 5, secure retirement for everyone; and 6, to forgive student loans. The problem with health care in the United States that no one much likes to talk about is that the United States pays approximately 18% of the gross national product for health care, and similarly situated countries pay 10% of their gross national product for health care. Depending on which measure you use, we don't get a lot more to show for the difference in the expenses. The one good thing Obamacare did was that it required 80% of insurance premiums to be paid to healthcare providers. They costed out Bernie Sanders' proposal, and it turns out is equal to approximately 18% of the gross national product of the United States. Donald Trump said he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare with something that was better and cheaper. However, he failed to even tell us what the plan is, and he said he is not going to announce what the plan is until after the 2020 election. Obama said he would support the plan if it in fact was better and cheaper. Bernie Sanders said he wants to provide as much free public education as anyone wants. It is not clear if he is referring to getting rid of tuition at public universities and trade schools, or if it includes the cost of living and books. If it includes the cost of living and books, we may well get to have a generation of professional students. The lobbies for private colleges are likely to oppose this. For a while, California had free tuition for all in-state residents, and now they have done away with that. He is also for canceling student loan debt. This would free up money for those currently paying them and stimulate the economy. However, it would be unfair for those who have paid off their student loans. Also, it would result in certain high income people having their student loans canceled too. A better proposal would be to allow student loans to be dischargeable in bankruptcy at about 4 or 5 years after the person last attended class. Bernie Sanders wants everyone to be paid a living wage. This gets into a tricky area. Take, for example, Walmart. On one hand, the Waltons are one of the richest families in the whole country, and many of their workers are on some sort of public assistance. So that means if you're a taxpayer, you are subsidizing the workers of some of the richest people in the country. On the other hand, I heard a statistic that indicated that what the Walmart has done to beat down prices has aided poor people in the country more than all social welfare programs put together. There is also a movement afoot to make $15 an hour the pay for fast food workers. If that happens, there are plans in place to automate a lot of those jobs out of existence. Bernie Sanders is also for everyone having decent and affordable housing. It's difficult for anyone to be against that. The question becomes, what constitutes decent housing and who is going to pay for it? It is controversial as to how much money Donald Trump has, but it is quite clear that whatever money he has, a lot of it came from the fact that his father built subsidized housing in Queens, New York. Bernie Sanders is also for decent retirement for everybody. It is not real clear who is going to pay for that and what constitutes decent retirement and at what age. Bernie Sanders is not calling for socialism. He is calling for a welfare state. If he is elected president, most of his proposals will be dead on arrival at Congress. A lot of his ideas are left over from the great war on poverty which occurred in the 1960s. Some of that war on poverty worked and some of it didn't. One of the conclusions of the war on poverty was that it was cheaper to pay off some people to do nothing than to try and find a way for them to get work.